All right, hey guys, I'm going to make this video as short as possible. I just wanted to go through and do some training for the new retail and event scripting. This is just going to be the first of a bunch of videos coming out on this. And, most of the time, what I'll do is I'll actually live record it with people to be able to ask questions and stuff like that. But I wanted to kind of dry run through this with just me kind of in front of the camera teaching the different stuff. So this will be in the new training manual. The new training manual is going to have a lot of stuff in it, but we're just going to focus on the scripting right now. Okay, we'll go over what's new and what's not. So the introduction doesn't really start off different. We put some different examples there of things that you can say, so it's not just the same thing every single time. Look, this part is really going to be determined based on your comfortability in the situation that you're in. So one thing that we need to get people used to that people aren't used to now is we have to get people used to pitching leads, not sweeps. Now, what I mean by that is that if the person doesn't want to sign up for our contest, that does not mean that they don't need or want windows. They could very much want windows and want a quote from us without wanting to sign up for our window makeover. So we have to remember that. So I'm just going to go through the notes here first. It says introduction will vary based on the event, amount of people at the event, like how one-on-one you have to be or whatever. And then it's going to be based on other circumstances as well. So it might be like again a situation where there's not very many people at the event at all, and you get a lot of time with people. Or it could be a circumstance where we're doing like a charity event and it's very, very quick, but our focus becomes approaching about the charity and not really about the sweepstake as much. I mean, when I'm doing charity stuff, especially food drives, I'm 100% focused on that with customers because it just resonates better. It's going to be versatile. It's going to be able to switch things up. If something gets dry for you, just a small switch in scripting. Even though it has nothing really to do with the scripting itself, it has more to do with your attitude towards it. It can make a big change. So these are just some examples of getting the customer interested. So you might say, "Hey, have you heard what we're doing at the event today?" Right? Excuse me, sir, you look like my next winner. I've heard people say that before. Hey, ma'am, I'm going to let you know what we're doing here today. Right? So just kind of go into it. We're giving away a $50,000 window makeover. What's your name? Let's get you entered. Boom. Start the conversation. Okay. Gather the information on the sweepstake. Now, that's something that when you're first starting in the job, you really want to familiarize yourself with. Is this piece of paper here? And the reason why is because you do not want this holding you up. Okay. Your handwriting should be clean. Again, people need to read that to be able to enter it in the system. So it's very important that your handwriting is clean and that you go through this in a, not slow, but a methodic way. Complete the sweepstake form. And then you're going to ask the question, if you do win, what would you focus on first? Your windows or doors, which is no different than what we've been doing. Okay, now this part does adapt and change a little bit. Okay, what changes about it, it's not really a change per se. It's a change on the way that we look at it. And if let's say that person's not interested in the sweepstake, they're not going to answer the question, if you do win, what would you focus on first, your windows or doors? So we have to get more choosy with the way that we ask questions. That being said, we're just going to focus on getting the sweepstake first because that's not the change that we're trying to drive right now. We will go over that in the near future, but let's go over the other changes first. So the notes here say the customer will lead the conversation by first answering what they would prefer to replace if they were to win. Address the window problems by asking the customer questions about their window and door needs. Stay away from yes or no questions as much as you can. More open-ended questions allow the customer the opportunity to voice their concerns. Then connect the problems with each other. For example, my windows are drafty. Well, that makes sense, Mr. Jones. Your energy bills are probably getting pretty high. Okay. Another example that if they said that the windows are drafty, okay, Mr. Jones, that's probably because they're 15-year-old vinyl windows. They're probably warping. Right. Okay. So just to continue on the conversation like that makes it easier. All right. So let's say example questions. Let's say the customer said, these windows are just really old. Yeah, they're just really old. Right? They don't really give you any problems. You might say something like, okay, they're really old and they're vinyl. They must be pretty drafty, right? It's a yes or no question, but you're pointing it in a direction of a yes, right? By giving that evidence. Oh, okay, so they're really old and drafty in vinyl. They must be pretty drafty. Well, they must be losing money on their energy bills. right? My windows are pretty drafty. Let's say they said, well, that's pretty common, Mr. Jones. How long have you been dealing with that? Simple question. I get my windows done first, but they're really fine. Well, I appreciate you signing up, Mr. Jones. These windows are 15 years old, right? Okay, usually 15-year-old vinyl windows will start to experience issues with like warping, for example. How long have you been dealing with that? So, and you could use a different window problem too, but that's just an example, okay? Now, no matter how this works, this is where the big change comes in our scripting, okay? And from what we were doing before to what we're doing now. So before, we were rolling right into the value of the visit. And the positive of that is that we're capturing the customer's attention. They really can't, they really don't feel like they can say no, okay? There's no question to ask this, so they don't object, but they're just waiting to object, and that's the negative, right? They're not listening to anything that you say. They decide the second you start speaking, not interested, and then everything that you say after that just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because they've already decided that they're going to say, I'm not interested, or I can't afford this, or whatever they're going to say. Sorry, my mouth is dry, so I keep having to go into my Gatorade. So that being said, what we're doing now is we're asking the question, may I make a suggestion? Okay, so Mr. Jones, may I make a suggestion? Now, the reason why we're asking this question is because we'll usually get a yes, but there could be some kind of objection attached, okay? What's on their mind is going to come up, and that's not a bad thing. We have to embrace that, okay? So if they're thinking in their head, look, I really can't afford this right now, that's going to come up. If they're thinking I'm not interested, that's going to come up, but it's easier for you to deal with that in this part of the script than it is later on. Right here, you have plenty to say. You haven't given anything away yet, and so you can utilize your entire script as an answer to objections, customer objections. Whereas if you waited on this, then you wouldn't be able to do that. So you should expect a yes with an objection attached. Either ignore the objection or acknowledge it and move on. We'll go over how to do that in a minute. Example would be, sure, but I'm not ready to replace my windows right now. I might say, of course, Mr. Jones, what I would do, and then I would just keep going with the script, okay? So, of course, Mr. Jones, what I would do is, boom, okay, go right back to the script. What I would do is, based on these problems, you'd benefit from having somebody, so on and so forth, right? Now, even if you adapt the scripting, so it feels a little bit awkward to go, based on, of course, Mr. Jones, what I would do, based on these problems, you would benefit. That sounds a little bit weird. So adapt it. You might say, of course, Mr. Jones, what I would do is just have somebody come out. They would go over the different benefits of our window, and then they would leave you with a free inspection and a quote on your window, so you know what can we do, what we can do, and what it would cost. Does that sound helpful? Okay. And that leads me to the next thing, the next question, which is, does that sound helpful? Another thing that we're not really doing right now, okay? But it allows the customer, again, time to object in a way that is less, biased, as in they don't know what we're doing yet. They don't know the full context yet, which is a good thing. Okay, so let's go through that again real quick. All right. So I come off the window problems. Okay, Mr. Jones, may I make a suggestion? Yeah, you can make a suggestion, but I'm not doing anything with my windows right now. Oh, no, that's absolutely okay, Mr. Jones. I just want to let you know that you'd benefit from having one of our design consultants come out to do a full inspection. They'll identify problems where they exist, and then they'll just show you our windows and doors and leave you with a free price quote. Does that sound helpful? Okay, does that sound helpful? And then at that point, they're going to say yes, no, or whatever. All right, and we'll continue on. So, expected not interested or can't afford it, something like that. You want to answer back with an agreement statement. So they say, like I said, I can't afford it right now. You say, I appreciate your honesty, Mr. Jones. All we'll do is ... give you a free price quote down to the penny, good for 1 full year. That way you have the information set aside. Okay. So you're answering directly back to their objection. Now this scripting, this basic conversation that you're having with the customer, it should work so well. You should instantly go, if you're a 3 demo a week person, you should be a 6 or 7 demo a week person minimum with just these changes. Just these changes should provide you with a lot of ammunition to do well moving forward. Okay. So I'm going to give you some more examples that quick. And again, trying to keep this in the interest of keeping this video short. I'm going to give you some examples, but we're going to do another training video separately too. So I asked the question, may I make a suggestion? The customer says, yeah, look, I'm not really interested right now. Well, okay, Mr. Jones. And I could just, again, I could create agreement or I could just move on, right? So I'm going to say, okay, Mr. Jones, well, based on these problems, what I would do is you'd benefit from having one of our design consultants come out to do a full inspection. They'd identify the problems where they exist and show you our windows and doors. Does that sound like it'd be helpful to you? Right? Yeah, well, just, not right now. Maybe in like 5 years, but just not right now. Okay, Mr. Jones, I respect that. And I can appreciate your honesty there. That being said, when we come out, all we do is really go over your options, answer your questions, and leave you with a quote that's good for 1 full year. That way, you can call us back if we are ever the company for you. Okay. Then do you work days or evenings? All right. So even that's something difficult that's way outside of our realm of the quote being good for a full year, you can still answer back, right? To figure out whether or not we're going to be the company for you. It's still relatively easy to have that conversation the proper way. Okay. So let's run through that again, but I'll do it a little bit differently. Okay. May I make a suggestion? No, look, I really can't afford new windows right now, so I'm not going to do anything with my windows. Oh, no, of course not, Mr. Jones. I appreciate your honesty with me. That being said, all I would do based on these problems is I have somebody come out, one of our design consultants. They would do a full inspection of your windows, tell you what kind of problems tell you what kind of problems you're having, and they would let you know whether or not we can save you some money, and then they'll leave you with a free price quote. That way, you have the information set aside. Does that sound helpful? Yeah, look, it does, but just not right now. Like I said, I can't afford new windows, so it doesn't make any sense to have somebody come out. Okay, sir, and that makes sense. I can see why you say that. That being said, when we come out, all we do is give you a free price quote that's good for 1 full year, so you can see whether or not the windows are affordable for you, and then hold on to that for whenever you're ready. Now, do you work days or evenings? Okay, there's a more complicated example, right? Let's go a little bit more basic. May I make a suggestion? You can, but I can tell you right now, we just moved in and I'm really not interested in doing windows. Well, oh, congratulations on the home, Mr. Jones. I hope you like the neighborhood. I'm sure it's a beautiful home. That being said, all we would do based on these problems is we would just come out and check the windows out for you. We'd see what kind of problems you're having, and then we'd show you how we can help you, and then leave you with some free information so you can call us back whenever you are ready. Does that sound helpful? I'm sure it would be, but not right now, man. I like, we can call you back whenever we're ready. We're definitely not ready, given that we just bought the house and stuff like that, Oh yeah, I can definitely understand that, sir. I know that buying a house is a big commitment. Obviously, it costs a lot of money. That being said, we understand that as a company too. All we would do when we come out is go over your options, answer your questions, and leave you with a free price quote that's good for 1 full year. That way you can call us back whenever you are ready. Now I have your I'm sorry, I was just gonna go with the Kim script. Now, do you work days or evenings? Okay. So it's very easy to answer back to these concerns through this lens. And that's why this lens is so important. All right. So that's, I'm going to, again, give a ton of examples and we're going to adapt the scripting and shift it just a little bit here and there. Like I'm already seeing some stuff in the value of the visit that I would slightly change, and we'll have time for that after. But it's important that we start doing this as quick as possible and that you guys have the necessary information, because I think every person here should be well within commission, and we don't see that right now. All right, so what other changes were made? Not really much. Slight change in the scripting, setting an appointment. So it says, thank you, Mr. Jones. Thank you, whatever, Mr. Jones, whatever the name is. Again, this is a completely free service. All we need are 2 things. So instead of saying all that we ask for, we just put all that we need are 2 things. And then change this wording slightly. First, we need you to set aside at least 90 minutes, whether we need it or not. Fair enough. Okay, and second, when we visit to discuss the project, we need to meet with all the owners of the property, including you, a spouse, or family member, or significant other. So who would that include? So not much changes there, just a slight change. Okay, perfect. I'll get the office on the phone for you right now so we can find a good date and time. It'll just take a minute. All right. And then while you call, remind the customer of next day availability. So you're on the phone with the call center rep, and you say something like, hey, Mr. Jones, we do have appointments available as early as tomorrow. While I'm on the phone, just start thinking about your schedule. Okay. Very simple. It gets their mind wandering in a positive place while you're on the phone. They're not going to straight negativity and lack of interest because they're thinking of a date and time. They get on the phone, you get on the phone with the call center, talk to them briefly, be very positive with them, be very grateful of their time, and then wrap up with the customer. And we really only changed a couple words here. So before you go, Mr. Jones, as a thank you for your patience, say this is a $500 gift card. Please give this to your design consultant when they come out. Also, here's a reminder card. That's going to be for tomorrow at 2 p.m. Again, when the consultant gets there, they'll answer any questions without obligation. But is there anything else that I can do for you right now, that I can answer for you right now? Thank you so much. We're grateful for the opportunity. I hope you have a wonderful day. Okay. So not many changes to the end of the script. The biggest changes are in that value of the visit. Now, second video, we're just going to go through that value of the visit over and over and over again. So I appreciate you guys' time. This will be a process, but I promise you this will increase your production 2 or 3 times. All right. Thank you very much. I will talk to you soon.